A secret New Year quest in Destiny 2. New content added to the end of episode Revenant, and some big changes coming in the final episode Heresy. Welcome Guardians, let's dive right in. "2025 could be a big year for Destiny 2. We know there's some change coming for sure. The end of the episodic cadence, which really didn't hit with fans for obvious reasons, and a transition into 2 expansions a year. Each release adding its own flavor and doing things in a different way, things we've never seen before like non-linear story destinations. If you missed yesterday's video, we recap some of the best story moments of the last year. Season of the Wish all the way through the final shape and the first 2 episodes. But in today's video, we take a look at what's next in the beginning of 2025 here. The content releasing with the end of episode Revenant leading into Heresy in February. First up, let's talk about a quest chain coming to the end of Revenant. If you played Season of the Wish, this is like the wishes Bungie added, where you would pick up a quest from Mara each week, do some tasks, and then be able to collect a reward. They say, episodes introduced a new content cadence with acts. While there are new activities, loot, and quests rolling out at a consistent cadence, this change created lulls in our gameplay calendar at the end of an episode. So for the final weeks of Revenant, there will be a special pursuit similar to Riven's Wishes, where you can complete quests to choose from a list of new and desirable rewards. So this makes me wonder what these desirable rewards are. Are they episode Revenant weapons? Are they new weapons they're adding? I kind of find that hard to believe. Or is it a special shader? Now we talked about this sort of leaked quest and some of its steps last month. With the release of Revenant, some of this was found in the game files and also just straight up on Ishtar collective lore pages. From what we can gather so far, you'll be able to get some loot of course from various vendors, and on top of that maybe even the Chatterwhite shader, which may be those desirable rewards Bungie mentions. It suggested that this brand new quest is called Packed Lunch and will have 8 steps when you started at the Drifter. It will involve completing bento boxes and objectives to get bento tokens, and then the loot with said tokens. If you've noticed the random waypoint at the vending machine by Ada and Archie, this is definitely part of it. The first step has you complete 5 boxes for the Drifter, then collect a bootleg tincture from the vending machine. The next 7 parts after that have you speak to the Drifter, complete an objective out there in the wild, and then turn in your token at Eris for a reward. Ishtar already shows these bento tokens and some quotes. Drifter does a poor job of hiding his relief at the sight of you. You'd think the soul system was getting sliced up all over again. The way people are hollering for help, been hard to keep up. He sighs. Nobody counted on me for this kind of thing before. My mistake was turning reliable. You don't see anybody running to Spider for a helping hand, or 4. No, with him, they pay up front. I'm practically doing the Vanguard's job for them. You'd think I like this place or something. Drifter groans. Hell, I might like this place. Don't you look at me, just go take care of business. And here, I made this dish special. Had to call in a favor to get the right ingredients. Don't spill it. Eris greets you with a muted smile. This time, she does not appear surprised as she reaches out to retrieve the meal you brought her. Drifter has always dedicated himself wholeheartedly to even the most foolish causes, though he protests all the while. Be it that cynical game of his, or she taps the food container. I imagine he only sought to spite us all in those early days, prove us wrong. Fortunate then that neither you nor I are very good at backing down from an argument. Eris laughs quietly. Do you recall our entreaties with the Nine? Our communion with the entity we believed to be the darkness itself? Those first hesitant steps. Drifter is right, I think. We make an effective fire team. So some fans speculated that this might be brought up around the new year, but it seems it could be in the final weeks of January after Act 3 of Revenant, which launches January 7th. So perhaps the Revenant conclusion and the week after maybe this will start. Now the Chatterwhite shader, a white shader from Destiny 1, a very popular one, was also mentioned with some of these quest steps, or at least the data mine stuff. So this could be the reward for completing all 8 steps. The final act for Revenant starts next week at Reset, January 7th. With it comes the conclusion of the Revenant storyline as well as a new exotic mission, new weapons, a last drove artifact perks, and the Slayer's Fang exotic shotgun. In episode Echoes, we had to do the exotic mission, various times week after week for the storyline, but Bungie changed things up for this episode and seems to have shortened up some of these steps, so maybe we'll only have to do it a couple of times, and maybe even more if you want to go for the catalysts. But it's still going to be fun to dive in, see what the story's like, and check out the environment. My guess is it has to do with Fikrul's watchtower. Bungie says in the final act you'll delve into Dracula's castle-inspired fortress. So that, paired with the new exotic Slayer's Fang and the storyline Kel's Fall conclusion, will be great to see after this sort of drought we've had with the Dawning and waiting from Act 2. Iron Banner returns January 14th for those still looking for your roles on the Tenacious Mastery rocket sidearm. And starting January 31st, Trials will return for one final time before episode Heresy starts. This will be the last week the Prophet will be available as a post-match reward. There's also a bunch of sandbox and weapon armor balance updates coming in Act 3, and here are some of those simplified on screen. Just around the corner after that in February at the beginning, Heresy will release with some additional changes. In response to the desirability of seasonal weapons, in the short term for Heresy, we've developed a new tier of seasonal weapons dubbed the Heretical Arsenal. More details on these weapons as we approach Heresy, but rest assured that it will be clear when they hit your inventory that they're worth inspecting. These changes are stepping stones that help us evaluate our long-term plans to create a deeper weapon chase in Frontiers. Content rollout for Heresy will also be a bit different. We're taking an approach where the vast majority of the activity's content will be available on the first day of an act, and subsequent weeks will add or evolve the content based on the story. Also, we're adjusting the act rollout schedule so that there is less downtime in the gameplay calendar later in the episode. Heresy will be our last season in the episode format. The team has taken some big swings to create new activities that evolve throughout the episode and create big secrets to uncover on the Dreadnought. So most of the content will release on day 1 of an act, but throughout the weeks they'll add or evolve content based on the story. This makes me wonder if they're going to add weapons later on, as some of those lore cards deal with the story and what's going on, or if it's just audio logs and terminals you hear at, say, the helm. They're also changing the content rollout of the act, so does that mean there's more downtime in between episodes, even longer than what we have with Revenant? With Heresy comes a brand new dungeon. On launch February 7th at 9 AM Pacific Time Reset, they'll have more details to share about this new dungeon in the future, but that's when it's going to release. Will it be on the Dreadnought, or a different location kind of like Vesper's host was, hinting towards future story elements? But anyway, Guardians, that's all we got for today's video. Happy New Year if you're still watching to this point, and wanted to recap some of the stuff coming to Destiny 2 at the beginning of this year. If you'd like to see some more Destiny news, lore, and mysteries just like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.